Alright, welcome back. Here we have an example of a topography map, and we're going to delineate a watershed here, right? So let's talk about this map really quick. I kind of drew or wrote some of the elevation numbers here. We have here's our red point down here, and that's going to be our outlet. So step one, right? Step one is to identify the outlet. That's already done. It's right here. Okay, that's the outlet. So this is where all the water is gonna flow out to. And then we have contour lines, we have elevations. This outlet seems to be around elevation 4800. And then as we move up to the right, elevations seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so the first step was to identify the outlet, which we just did. All right, the second step is to identify high points. So if we look at this map, if we look at the bottom right, we can see that there's a high point here, and it's at elevation 7515. Okay, if we keep looking around the map, we find one here. Here's an elevation, a high elevation point. Here's another one. Then we have this one up here of 7,025, and there's one here. Let's see, any place else that you guys see? Well, you guys can't talk to me, but I think that's it. So those are the high points. All right, so that's step two. The third step is to identify the ridges and the valleys. Okay, and remember, when we find valleys, we usually draw little tributaries on them. So let's say we had, actually the valleys are kind of already shown. We have these two rivers here, right? This river here, and then there's one down here, and then there's also little tiny tributaries. So if I had a water droplet here, there would be something like that. That might be a small little valley. Maybe some more, maybe not. No. All right. So that's some of our valleys, and then we have ridges. So how do we actually connect ridges and high points together? So we start at this outlet, and we go perpendicular to the lines for all the ridges. Okay. So what we want to do, actually, let me start up here. There's two high points here, right? There's one here and there's one here. How do we connect them together? Well, ridges need to be at the highest elevation possible. So this ridge right here would look something like this. Boom, connected. These two lines are connected. And then this one and this one, we want to draw perpendicular to the lines. It would look something like this. Oops, let me redo that. So it would look something like this. Go perpendicular to the lines, right? And then we have a high point down here, the 7515, and we have this high point down here. So we want to connect those perpendicularly. That's not a word. Is it a word? I don't know, maybe. We want to connect these perpendicular, and boom, there's another ridge. So if we come back here, there's this outlet, and there's this high point up here. There's no high points in between, but what I do know is that my knowledge of ridges is that this right here is a ridge. So I'm connecting these lines perpendicular to one another until I reach a high point, which is right there. All right, and then we have this high point up here, and then there's this apparent ridge right here. You kind of see that. And there's really no right way to do it, but there are a million wrong ways to do them. You just do this with practice. So you identify ridges. Here's another ridge. This might look something like this. And here things get a little tricky, because you think this ridge, I'm going to draw this in squiggly lines. You think the ridge is going to go all the way there, but our outlet's here, so we need to turn around and connect this outlet. Okay, so this black line that we drew, that's our watershed. Okay, And I actually did step 5 right now. I delineated the watershed, but really there's no right way to do this, but there are many wrong ways to do this. My recommendation is just look up different topography maps, draw a random dot somewhere, and identify the high points, the valleys, the ridges, and then connect the ridges and the high points and the outlet together, and draw your watershed. So in our case, this watershed is all of this, everything within this black boundary right here. So this visually is a watershed. All right.